All right. And so is your position that he's essentially like protesting in this interview, look, I told y'all what I knew, which was the God's honest truth the last time, and y'all didn't do anything to help me. And that establishes that he, at least in 2021, and your position is saying what I told you in 2015 was true. And that's inconsistent with what he's saying on the stand today and the past few weeks, which is everything was a lie.
Yes.
I mean, whether that actually accomplishes that or not, I guess will be up to the jury, but
Well,
yes, sir.
before it gets to the jury, I just don't know of any rule of evidence that allows someone to reiterate in between the time of the original statement and testifying. Okay, we'll say those two things are inconsistent. I don't know why a statement made in between those two times would be admissible as either a prior inconsistent or prior consistent statement. It just seems like we're at this point using another out-of-court statement to
2015 and saying all of that was a lie. And it's only here today that I'm telling the truth. Everything before was a lie. And here is something prior to today that is him saying the exact opposite of what he is saying today. So it is inconsistent in that way.
So his disavowing prior statements certainly has happened, and he's disavowed it. To me, as I've listened to the testimony, he hasn't specified, oh, I disavowed the June 10, 2000. He said every time I talk to the police, it's a lie.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what playing another statement, which he's already saying is a lie, what that is accomplishing. I just don't see this. To me, the state needs to outline a path, an exception to admit a out-of-court statement. And I'm not seeing the exception.
Speak to that, Ms. Hilton.
I believe the court said in its analysis that you just gave, what he's saying in court now in June of 2024 is inconsistent with what he has said in any of his interviews to police. And in 2021, 6 years after he gave his initial statement, he is still telling the police in 2021, what I told you in 2015 was true. You all didn't help me in 2021. What I told you all then is what I knew. I gave you the information. That is inconsistent with what he is saying now in court, that he's just finessing the police, that he's just telling them whatever, and the jury can determine if they believe what he's saying now in court, or if they believe what he told the police back in 2015 and in 2021. They can make that decision. But this is an inconsistent statement with what his court testimony is.
But isn't someone in 2021 saying what I told you in 2015 is the truth, was the truth? Isn't that exactly what we don't allow in the trials, is someone self-bolstering their own statements? Like, I mean, if I make a statement and then I just go around town and tell everyone, hey, that statement I made is the truth, that statement I made is the truth, are we going to have a trial where we call in 100 people to say I said it was the truth?
Yeah. So, I mean, Ms. Hilton, is your position that even though he is saying on the stand, everything I said before was a lie and what I'm saying today is the truth, that it's in fact the opposite of that?
Yes. What we believe that what he told the police back in 2015 and in 2021 was true. Like that's the state's position.
And that he is now, you believe, lying on the stand.
Correct. The state believes he is lying on the stand saying that what he said back then isn't true. But even
And that his motive for doing so is,
we believe his motive for doing so is that he's now present and has to deal with what he said back in 2015, now sitting in front of the individuals he tested or he talked to police about. He now has to confront his own statements in front of these defendants who he talked about back in these interviews in 2015.
and so he's trying to wiggle out of it today.
He's trying to wiggle out of what he told the police back then, back in 2015. And furthermore, in 2021, he's asserting again what he said back then was true, but now he's trying to tell this jury that everything he's always said is a lie. But in 2015, with no prompting from anyone else, he brings up what he told police in 2015. Investigator Verito didn't ask him about what he said in 2015. With his own prompting, he told the detectives his first line, which is on page 12.
All right, so I think that this would come in under 24-6-613 C, that essentially right now he has, and I'm not saying he does, but the state's position is that he currently today has a motive to lie, and that this 2021 position he took with the police is before that motive to lie arose, and it's prior to that. Although honestly, it's not a consistent statement, then it's an inconsistent statement. So, I mean, in all honesty, I mean, you've already rehashed a lot of this, and I think we're just kind of plowing the same ground.
And furthermore, the defense counsel brought up this interview, one, by playing the jail calls that they played. They played, this is the interview that was leaked. And I believe Mr. Shar asked the line of questioning about this particular interview. I think he ended up asking the question. He was getting ready to play the video, but he did not play. I think he ended up just asking the question because there might have been some technical difficulties with the interview itself. So this interview has been discussed. The portions are about 2 minutes total. And more importantly, Your Honor, the last section is what I just asked him about, which is feeling guilty about having to confront or be around thugs. And what he says in this,
It's the same thing. I feel guilty about it. He doesn't say why he feels guilty about it.
on page 24, he does. He says, on page 168, he does say why he feels guilty. He says, "You don't understand how it makes me feel when I go around. You want to know?" I think he says, "Know the truth. When I go around, dude, I know what I done. So I don't want to be around him because of guilt. That's why I don't want to be around, because I'm afraid."
And you fill in the blank about what the reason for that guilt is.
He says it here. He says, "I know the information that I gave. Y'all sit here and play like this ish ain't valuable."
Which could be, I ratted him out, or could be, I totally made up something on him, and he doesn't specify which.
But we believe when you look at the totality of it all, our argument is that he is talking about the fact that he gave up information.
Okay, but this doesn't establish that this is inconsistent with what he's saying on the stand. You need to move on to another topic. I'm not going to allow this. I'm going to give you this back.